clean looking Negroes, quote unquote.
This video, I'm gonna try to keep it short, even though it's gonna be packed with a lot of information. These two cats right here are very well, the two cats you seen in the beginning. They in this video right here. This they channel. Go to it. Listen to what they be talking about. Some good stuff. I found some stuff to corroborate some of the claims made, and I just want to share it with the people. Try to broaden your perspective a little bit about society, about our government, and the things that they do. Maybe it might maybe help you see things a little bit different. So check it out.
Getting back to Animal Farm, after Animal Farm, they begin to believe that they could simply plant messages into the movies themselves. And you say, well, what kind of messages do they plant? A lot of them are, like I said, like the Jerry Lewis thing, where they involve international relations, that they don't want to go bad. However, they also, like a movie like The Caddy, another Jerry Lewis movie, they have an entire program of planting clean looking Negroes, quote unquote, throughout the movies, and even in golf tournaments, places where they are not in American society, to offset the Soviet documentaries about the bad treatment of blacks under civil rights laws in the South. The Soviet Union is making documentary after documentary depicting, truthfully so, what's going on in the southern regions of the United States and treatments of African Americans. The CIA counters by putting clean looking African Americans in movies and scenarios where they would never be in a million years, such as tennis matches, golf tournaments. They give, and there's memos to give them the best cars in a movie, so their lifestyle looks upscale. It's fascinating how far they went with this thing to offset the Soviets depicting truthfully what was going on here. So they're creating a completely non-existent world for African Americans that does not yet exist. And this comes back around in the 90s, where they begin to make, in TV and movies, every chief of police an African American. The president of the United States becomes an African American way before Obama. Morgan Freeman's president.
Judges. It seems like judges are all female African Americans.
Right. This is not
the most popular.
Right. This is not by accident. This is not by accident. This is social engineering by the intelligence community, that they feel this is the way we want to portray the nation.
All right, real quick, just so you can get an understanding of the time period that he referenced in 1953. He said the movie The Caddy, and he was saying the Soviet Union, which is basically Russia and other countries around it, was portraying the true history, or well, at that time it wasn't history, but you understand what was really going on in the South and in places where how they was treating African Americans, so-called black people. And you see, he was saying how the CIA was trying to portray black people as, doing better than they really were. So just kind of put that in your mind frame when you understand that we're supposed to be going to war with, right now with the two countries going to war, Ukraine and Russia's supposed to be the bad guys, but supposedly, according to, numerous sites, not mainstream media, but according to certain sites like this, Putin is finding things like this. You see what I'm saying? So who's really the bad guy? All right, well, we know that our country and our government has lied to us in the past, and I'm gonna show you a little bit more. So watch.
And I don't go on. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, wasn't some of this though because they were getting a black eye from movies like
right. We'll get to
in the 70s.
Because, right, just to back up for a second, they form a group. There's a group that's formed called Militant Liberty in 1954, and it's a propaganda campaign by the CIA to bring in Hollywood bigwigs into the loop, such as John Ford, John Wayne, Cecil B. DeMille. This is the first group of Hollywood bigwigs that are brought under the umbrella to make propaganda in American films, and it's called Militant Liberty. Ford, Wayne, DeMille, C.D. Jackson at Life magazine was running this thing, and they begin to make, more, jingoistic propaganda films.
All right, so you heard him. Militant Liberty. Militant Liberty, a program evaluation and assessment of freedom, was a top secret United States Department of Defense project aimed to utilize information operations and resources at the Pentagon's disposal to counteract the ideological threats of communism during the Cold War. Okay, what is information operations? Information operations is a category of direct and indirect support operations for the United States military. By definition, in Joint Publication 313, and we're going to go to that in a second. IO means information operations. Information operations are described as the integrated employment of electronic warfare, computer network operations, psychological operations, military deception operations, security, in concert with specific supporting related capabilities to influence, disrupt, corrupt, or usurp adversarial human and automated decision let me double check. Involving characteristics, adversarial characteristics by conflict. Oh my God. What does that say? To usurp adversarial human, what I thought. To stop you from second guessing anything. Wow. To usurp adversarial human and automated decision making while protecting our own. Oh wow. What are psychological operations? Psychological warfare, as you can see, psychological operations redirects to here, you see, or basic aspects of modern psychological psyops. What we've been saying, we've been calling these things that happen, these shooting, false flag, psyop, political warfare, hearts and minds, and propaganda. The term is used to denote hearts and minds. Don't they always say that? The hearts and minds of the people. The term is used to denote any action which is practiced mainly by psychological methods with the aim of invoking a planned psychological reaction in other people. Hegelian dialect. It's right here in black and white for you. So you can see various techniques are used. Let's see. Aimed at target audience's value system, belief system, emotions, motives, reasoning, and behavior. It is used to induce confessions, reinforce attitudes, behavior favorable to the originator's objectives, and sometimes combined with black operations or false flag tactics. It is also used to destroy the morale of enemies through tactics aimed to depress troops in psychological states. Listen, you need to know who your ops is, okay? The morale of the enemies. What have they been doing to us as a people since the 90s, specifically with our music? Have they not been destroying the morale of our people? Okay, so let me just show you two things, and then we're gonna finish with them giving a few more examples, and I'm gonna let them finish the video. So check this out. They referenced this right here, Joint Publications 313. So we got Joint Publications 313. You see it right here. All this stuff is right here in our faces. November 2012. Look at there. Interesting date, right? So it's basically explaining information operations. And so let's just go down. With information operations, C.I.A can help synchronize and deconflict specific information operations related to what's PA? I forgot what PA is. Oh, public affairs. Yeah, public affairs. When implementing strategic guidance that affects adversary or care must be taken carefully to follow all legal and policy constraints in conducting the different activities. For example, see Department of Defense Directive 3321.1. Overt psychological operations conducted by military services in peacetime and in contingency short of declared war. Let's go there. Just want to show you how real this is. Okay. Declassified in full. Look when they got declassified less than 3 years ago. Okay. But it was written, this was published in 84. Okay. But they already had other things in this vein, if you will, since the 50s, you can see. And that just happens to be my birthday, which I thought was interesting. Obviously not 58. I was born in 85. Ha! Switch the numbers. Anyway, so you see, this is from the Department of Defense. Overt psychological operation conducted by military service in peacetime and continues short of declared war. So here you go. Here you go. This is it. They showing how they will do psyops on us. Here it is. Now watch when they talk about what they trying to affect. Look at that. In peacetime, continues short of war. other than for training, psychological operations shall be conducted pursuant only to an approved psychological operation program. Psychological operations shall be used to archive the following objectives. Looky there. Can't put that out to the public. Wonder what it says. So, just to show you how real it is, now let the two brothers finish what they saying. Take it easy.
Now, wasn't this also done because the Cold War technically had ended?
Yes.
And they had to justify their existence. Like, why are you going to, we don't need the CIA, right? KGB, they're done. Soviet Union's
So
done.
you've got the collapse of the Soviet Union and this gap of the collapse of the Soviet Union and 9/11. And in that world, the CIA is meaningless because you don't have 9/11 yet and the Cold War is over. In that window is where they're at their weakest moment. And after 9/11, they are accused of being asleep at the switch, as you remember, Eric. A bunch of old fat white men who didn't hear this coming, it was the phrase. So they had to redeem themselves by starting to get involved in these films that would put out a better message for them. That's really what happens in the early mid-90s. They begin to fight back.
And yeah, Clancy, from what I understand, was definitely kind of a big part of it. It's also interesting that Ben Affleck seems to be kind of tied to it as we move
there's
along.
A bunch of these guys who are CIA helped. Tom Hanks is one. They help your career, then you help them later. Not sure about Ben Stiller, but it could be. Who knows? Tom Hanks is one.
De Niro.
Probably. But Matt Damon is definitely one. Will Smith. I mean, these are three names that are whispered around Hollywood for years of guys who were plucked out of obscurity by the CIA and given major careers if they did their bidding. I mean, if you look at how many CIA-related films that Matt Damon has done, who says, Howard Zinn was his mentor and teacher, and he's supposedly this political person. I mean, he's done so many CIA-themed movies. As has Soderbergh and the screenwriter I was telling you about that did Contagion, Scott Z. Burns, the Contagion movie, shown there. I mean, this is written. I mean, it's almost like a documentary of what we just went through. I mean, this is Burns, right? Yeah, Burns. This is Scott Burns.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Scott Burns says he hooked up with a guy named Ian Lipkin, a scientist at Columbia University, who took him under his wing. There's Lipkin getting the award by the Chinese government. January 20th, 2020, he gets the award from the Chinese military as their favorite scientist of the year. And he's over there, comes back. Ostensibly, he could have been patient zero for all we know, because he goes on Fox and they said, "Where did you get COVID?" He said, "I have no idea." And they said, "Where are you coming from?" And he said, "China." This is like January of 2020. So he gets this incredible award and says the Chinese or the Communist Party are his best friends. They're helping save the world. Here he is again. He goes to the Chinese embassy. I mean, this guy's at Columbia University right now. And he hooks up with Scott Burns to create Contagion years before we get the pandemic that we have now. And it's ostensibly so close to what happened that the movie was the most watched movie during this past pandemic. People were astonished. I had to go back and look at it because I didn't see it till since it had come out. And it's almost like a documentary of the current pandemic. And it's not an accident. This is not like, Scott Burns is an incredible, free thinker who came up with this idea. No. He worked with this guy, Lipkin, Dr. Ian Lipkin, who told him this is what's going to happen, step by step by step by step. And now, he gets the greatest Scientist of the Year award from the Chinese military. I mean, at some point, somebody's going to connect all these dots, and somebody's going to have some explaining to do.
Event 201 didn't predict the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, really?
Event 201 was an exercise organized in October 2019 to simulate what might happen if there was a severe pandemic.
Think I'm stupid or something? Sex.
We've been asked by readers to look into whether it really happened, why it wasn't covered much in the media, and whether it's simply a coincidence that it took part just months before the COVID-19 pandemic started.
Coincidence? I think not!
The event was real, but the fact it took place just before the pandemic started doesn't mean the organizers had any secret knowledge.
I beg your pardon?
Which has been suggested by some. The organizers said they ran the exercise because the world has seen a growing number of epidemic events. Previous similar exercises run by the same organizations and others have not been followed by similar outbreaks.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
Jerry.
The specifics of the exercise should not be taken as predictions for the COVID-19 pandemic.
Why not?
What was the event? Event 201 was run by the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security in partnership with the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Hey, bitch, you going too far. No can do.
It invited people from business, government, and public health to simulate coordinating a policy response to a theoretical pandemic. The simulation was based on a coronavirus. But that doesn't mean the organizers knew about the one that causes COVID-19.
You're always this stupid, or did you take lessons?
I took lessons.